Oh, what happened? Quality change.
The camera died. It's my fault.
Yeah. Wait. Whose fault?
Well, you didn't remind me to turn the camera on. Because we drove further than we normally drive.
Don't worry, I already have it on video.
I don't usually turn the camera on. I don't know how to open this, but I'm gonna figure it out.
What do you mean? There's a giant handle.
What's this? Is this? The
Outerior? This is the worst outro we've
done. The outside, the outro, the exterior, whatever.
So today we've got the brand new 2024 Ford Ranger. I know the Raptor's getting all the hype right now, but this is the Ford Ranger that most people would actually buy. This is a Lariat trim with four-wheel drive. So we've been driving it for a week, and I was the biggest fan of the old Ranger, and to say that this one is greatly improved is putting it mildly. Okay, so one of my least favorite aspects of the old Ford Ranger was the way that it was styled. Personally, I think it was kind of ugly. Like, it was ugly.
Tell us how you really feel.
Well, it had been on sale worldwide forever. The old Ford Ranger, or the previous gen Ford Ranger, was very old because it had been on sale for like a decade or something when it came out. It was super old, and it was sort of an international model, and when they sort of Americanized it, I didn't like the way it looked at all, especially compared to the more trucky looking things like the GM Twins and the Toyota Tacoma. I thought the Ranger looked kind of soft. This one is still based on the bones of that one, but they've done a much more kind of like baby F-150 look in the front and back. And I think
it's like tougher kind
yeah, it looks way better. It's like way better looking than it was before. And I really appreciate the fact that Ford kind of toughened it up here. I mean, Ford is, you know, the F-150 is synonymous with pickup trucks. So I think making the Ranger look, you know, a lot more like an F-150. In fact, the sort of running lights and stuff even kind of mimic those of the F-150. They kind of hook around like that. It's got the double stacked, you know, headlights, LEDs on this Lariat trim. So I think they did a really good job making the Ranger look more like its older brother and less like some weird afterthought, which is what the old previous generation looked like. Also, as you may have noticed, I recently lost my voice and just now got it back. So if I sound a little odd, like I've just been smoking 8 packs a day or something,
You have not, in fact.
not because I took up a terrible habit, it's because I just recently lost my voice, and this is about all I can muster.
All right,
Okay.
so what do you think of?
You didn't even let me start.
Well, I was sort of prompting you, but then you just sort of went for it.
Okay, go. Prompt me.
Okay, what do you think of the new Ford Ranger?
2024.
Because you like pickup trucks.
I do. So I usually like big pickup trucks. So this is not a big pickup truck.
It's a midsize.
It's a midsize pickup truck. But for the what I usually don't like, I want a truck to look like a truck. I don't like trucks that look kind of wimpy or whatever.
Oh, what happened? Quality change.
The camera died. It's my fault.
Yeah. Wait. Whose fault?
Well, you didn't remind me to turn the camera on. Because we drove further than we normally drive.
Don't worry, I already have it on video.
I don't usually turn the camera off.
Anyway, back to the Ford Ranger styling.
Yeah, because you killed the camera.
Oh right, yeah. No, it's already documented.
So I don't love small trucks. They look kind of wimpy. I don't like it. If it's a truck, it needs to be a truck. However, even though this is a smaller truck than I normally like, I think it looks very good. Like, it looks like a truck. Like, you've gotten some trucks where I'm like, that's a truck. Like, that doesn't look like a truck. It's so like little and
fake truck.
kind of wimpy.
Fake news truck.
Yeah, this looks like a truck. Like, it looks tough. Whatever they did with the styling, like, I really like it.
Well,
I
just
like
made
the
it look like an
grill.
F-150.
Yeah, which, I mean, I like an F-150. So
Yeah.
I think they did a good job. The tires look good. It all looks good.
The tires look good.
They do.
Well, they are
They're
all-terrain. Yeah, they're Goodyear
Yeah,
Wranglers.
yeah.
It's nice
Don't laugh at
looking.
me. That is facts. That
All
is
right.
facts. You want to go see what the back looks like?
Well, yeah. I mean, while we're mobile on the phone
While we're
after you
mobile.
killed the camera.
You mean you?
Right.
Oh.
Okay, walk in.
There's
We
a
got
problem.
that too.
That happens a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to open this, but I'm gonna figure
What do
it
you
out.
mean? There's a giant handle.
What's this? Is this like one of the things I can?
No.
Oh.
No.
But it kind of looked like it. So there's nothing to help me climb up here?
No,
gotta,
bed
like, get my-
steps on the side over here.
What? Oh, the steps.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So I can step here, and then I can step here, and then I can, just go
Yep.
come around. It's not super convenient, but okay. So here's the bed of the truck. It has a ton of space. Obviously, I can fit perfectly fine.
Well,
If
I would
couldn't,
hope
there
so.
would be trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got this thing. I don't.
It's at 1,800 load capacity. So if you're stressing out 1,800 pounds, I feel like this channel is taking a turn.
Just leave me alone. I don't like this thing, but I guess if you really needed a bed extender,
Yeah, you
I just
would
feel
not.
like it takes up time.
Yeah, you
but,
would not spec this. Did you
But
say
also,
it takes
you know
up
what I was
time?
thinking is
It
that
doesn't
if
take
you,
up time.
I meant space.
Yeah.
If you close this, you could like put groceries back here,
Well, that's something people do with them.
and it
yeah.
could like keep your groceries from
Yeah,
sliding all around.
it's
so
like a dual
actually,
purpose.
maybe it wouldn't be.
Because you could put things over there or inside
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, and then you have like kind of separate
Yeah.
compartments instead of a giant.
And I
bed.
believe you can also, well, I was going to
Well-
say some trucks have like a little like cutout for where you could put like a divider in,
Oh,
but the
I don't know.
Ranger does not seem to have
I
that.
don't see that, but there is power back here, like you said.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like it. You've got a ton of space. I love a truck. Like anytime you need something, you just throw it back here.
So you would consider getting the Raptor version of this?
Is it bigger?
No.
Then no.
Okay.
I want a bigger truck.
So full size truck.
Yeah.
You just want a
But-
Bronco Raptor.
No, I just want a full size something.
A full size something.
With comfortable seats.
Okay.
This one does have that.
Yes.
You
So you
wanna
want a King Ranch version of this?
Yeah.
Just out here doing truck things in the truck, getting pallets for someone's grad party. So, the trucks come in handy. All right, so this is the Ranger.
By the way, sitting in the back is kind of my thing. I feel like
no,
you've
you
taken
stand in the back. You climb in.
No,
you
but
can
I like
use
get
the
in the
bed
back of
steps.
all-
Now, this one has the optional bed extender, which you can rotate back here to hold something larger in place.
But then isn't it just like in the way all the other time?
Theoretically, yes. This
I mean,
would be
that's how it
very
kinda feels.
specific use case, like you have a large, power sports
Can you
toy.
remove it
or-
altogether?
Yeah. You don't have to get this. You can just have the regular bed. And this is a 5-foot bed box and it's 4 feet wide. Ford claims that a 4-foot wide object can fit flat on the bed, which is very useful. Ford does trucks. It's their thing, obviously. And so this has all of the basic functionality that you would expect in something like a midsize pickup truck. In addition, it also has the optional power. So you've got power running back here to the bed. You've got the bed extender. You've got the tough
Is that
bed.
only like when the car's turned on, or does that work all the time?
No, it works all the time. I believe there's the button in the car where you can send the power like back here and plug in different items and
cool.
stuff like that. So super useful.
Like if you're camping and stuff.
Yeah.
it'd be useful.
I mean, you wouldn't want to go crazy with it because it's not a hybrid. It doesn't have a big battery pack, but it's definitely a helpful thing if you're running something, or if you have the car running, you could run like, tire inflators and stuff like that right off the bed, which is definitely a plus. Also, because this one is a Lariat trim, it has the zone lighting around it, which I always love. Ford does their zone lighting thing where you have all the LED lights that shine in the bed and outside of the truck and off the mirrors. And I just think that's a super useful thing for people that are doing like lots of outdoorsy stuff. So this has sort of become standard now among mid-sized trucks, this sort of 5-foot bed, and in typical Ford fashion, it's very functional. Now, you don't get any trick, doodads in the tailgate like you have in some, of the full-size trucks. This is just sort of a simple thing. You get your measurements along the edge here, and it's damp, so it comes down slowly. But other than that, it's just a basic functional bed, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that at this price. All right, so this Ranger is powered by the 2.3 liter turbo, okay? So this is the base engine, but by base engine, I don't mean you're like sacrificing something. This 2.3 liter turbo runs through a 10-speed automatic. We are at a different park,
And there's
so
more traffic.
yeah, there's
unfortunately.
more traffic. It's been a rough filming day, let's put it that way. Anyway, 270 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque, 10-speed automatic transmission, and this one has 4-wheel drive. Now, this is just regular 4-wheel drive with the Sport Appearance package. It's not the FX4 or the Tremor or anything like that. So you do get a locking rear diff, but you don't get like a ton of different off-road modes. So this is sort of your standard basic 4-wheel drive for your everyday kind of work truck, and I'm sure it works perfectly fine for 90% of people. Now, you can get a 2.7 liter twin turbo V6, which is kind of unique in this class of vehicle. And you'll notice that both these powertrains are very close to the GM Twins and the new
What are
Tacoma.
the GM twins?
The GMC Canyon and the Chevy Colorado. Colorado,
that you talked
because they're
about.
both, made by GM. So that engine is making something, I think it's like 310 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque, a much healthier bump. You're not sacrificing for this though. We'll talk about that in a second with the drive portion. This is perfectly fine. So if you want to save the money and get the Lariat trim with some options and just get the regular powertrain, I promise you're not sacrificing much. And while we're on the topic of power, this thing can tow 7,500 pounds max, the Ranger can. So that's pretty good and competitive with the other pickup trucks in the class. And again, probably satisfactory for most people. The reason I keep stressing that is because the midsize pickup is sort of the new full-size pickup, because full-size pickups have gotten stupendously expensive and enormous, and now mid-size pickups are actually closer to what full-size pickups were 25 years ago and price and size and capability. So if you have a normal person's needs, this powertrain with the Ranger's capabilities is probably enough to satisfy what you have it, what you need it to do.
What you have it.
What you have it, need it, have it, whatever. So it's just me for the driving portion, because I've been monopolizing the truck all week, so you never got a chance to drive it. You've been a passenger extensively in the truck. But you did not get to drive the truck, which you are annoyed about because you do love driving a truck.
Facts.
So yes, so not your favorite week watching a truck sit in the driveway that you weren't driving. But anyway, the Ranger, how does it drive compared to, well, the old Ranger? And I did a couple videos on the old Ranger, and I'm not gonna lie, because we always try to be very honest on our channel. I didn't like the old Ranger, and the old Ranger was the old Ranger because it was sold globally since, like, I want to say like 2012 or something, and then it was just brought over here a couple years ago to fill that gap in Ford's lineup. So I didn't really like it in a lot of ways, and it drove okay, actually. That was one of the highlights of it. And the comfort level inside of it was another one, and I feel like that might be this truck's biggest win in terms of daily use. It's a very comfortable truck, don't you think?
Yeah, the seats especially.
Yeah, I mean, the seats in the old Ranger were good, and the ride was comfy, and this one, I think, is even better. It's incredibly comfortable over, like, the larger bumps in the road. You get a little vibration, but it's kind of normal pickup truck vibration when you're driving around with nothing in the bed. It doesn't really stick out to me as better or worse than any of the competitors. On that note, I have not driven the updated Colorado. We haven't had the Colorado or the Canyon since they've been redesigned, but I was at the launch of the Toyota Tacoma.
What brand are those?
Chevy Colorado and the GMC Canyon, and that's noteworthy because I really thought that the old GMC Canyon was the best riding pickup truck in this class, and this is comfier. I don't know if it's quite as buttoned down, but it depends on your preference. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, the Toyota Tacoma, I feel like is a little firmer than this truck. I don't mind it, but I'm not sure you would really like that. I don't know if you would like the Tacoma versus this. I feel like you like something that's a little softer and more comfortable, and the Tacoma definitely is a little firmer and more controlled. Also, the Tacoma seats are more firmly padded versus, right, which you kind of have a bone to pick with some Toyota seats, especially in their trucks and SUVs, where they tend to be more firmly padded. That was like your biggest gripe about the Sequoia, which you hated the way
these
the
seats are super comfortable.
And then these seats feel very plush.
All the King Ranch seats are super comfortable. Like,
yes.
You can have comfortable seats. I don't understand.
Yeah, and it's just, maybe a support thing, a sporty thing. I don't really know, but Ford has it nailed on this thing. Now, dynamically too, I would say my only real negative about this is the brake pedal feel. It's a little spongy, and the pedal has to be pushed kind of hard. When you do, it will stop like very quickly.
Is this a new light?
But yeah, they put in a new stoplight, and you have to stop like way back here. It's very strange. But not that you guys can see any of that.
I was like, what are we doing? We go this way all the time, and we never stop.
Yeah, you have to stop like way far away from the stoplight. But I think dynamically, the steering feels, fine to me. I like this wheel. It's, Ford's kind of smaller truck wheel. I like the wheel. all the ergonomics. Ford nails the ergonomics. So from behind the wheel, ergonomically, you can figure everything out. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of this infotainment, which we'll get to a little bit later, they have a dedicated button for your camera system. You have redundant climate controls. So ergonomically, it's typical Ford, like very functional, highly functional, right? And I think that combined with the comfort, also, you know, I'm almost 6'6", and this is a midsize pickup truck, and I fit great in here. I have no problem fitting in here, and as you'll see in a little bit, the back seat is still sort of usable, which you can't sort of say the same for the Tacoma.
What do you mean sort of usable?
Like a small person could sit behind.
Hallie literally sat back there.
Well, yeah, I mean,
she's 6 feet tall.
But not happily. I mean,
she was happy.
Her friend, no, behind you. She was sitting behind you, not me. She wasn't sitting behind me. Her friend Nora, who's much shorter, sat behind me, and she was able to fit. Now, Hallie can sit. You can use the back seat.
She could sit behind you. Maybe not super comfortable.
I don't think she'd like it very much, but she could physically fit there.
Well, you could also move up your long legs.
And then I guess the last thing to note about, oh, by the way, we just stopped at a stop sign back there. Before I get to the last thing, the auto start stop system in this, it kind of sucks. It's kind of annoying. Like, GM has been working on making theirs very unobtrusive. Toyota has, well, you can get a Tacoma with a hybrid powertrain, so it, you know, turns on and off. This one, it's like super noticeable, and it's super sensitive when you come up. There's not many cars nowadays where I would like recommend to you guys that you turn off the auto start stop system right away, just because it's so irritating. I would in this. I find it very annoying when I come to literally any stop and I was trying not to engage it, and it would still cut off right as I wanted to go again. So that could use a little touching up. But the final thing that I was going to get to is the engine. So this is the 2.3 liter, like we mentioned, and I actually think this is a great engine for this truck. I mean, you've got, I think it's 270 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. That's like right in line with the base engines in the Tacoma. I think they're like 5 or so more powerful in horsepower and torque. And it's perfectly fine. The 10-speed automatic can be a little hunty sometimes, but
what does that mean?
It means sometimes it'll like shift up or down, like it's not quite sure what gear you want to be in. But when you start accelerating rapidly, it's very smooth. So I don't really have a problem with that. And the auto start stop would be my only negative. But from a power standpoint, I think this engine is totally great. Now, the gas mileage, we've been driving this in just about literally every single type of driving. We've been in stop and go traffic. We've been in suburban driving. And then we just got done driving up and down the highway going to Atlanta for Hallie's volleyball. And I'm still just averaging about 20.7, 21 miles per gallon. So decent. Not great, but decent. So fuel economy is not going to be your like, you know, top priority, but this is also a pretty heavily optioned Lariat with 4-wheel drive. So, you know, that's going to cut into your fuel economy a little bit. But other than that, from behind the wheel, I'm actually quite surprised how much I'm enjoying driving this as a daily driver, especially considering how critical I was of the old Ranger, and rightly so. I mean, I'm going to give myself a little credit here. The old Ranger was not great. It was not great. It felt old. It looked old. This is actually riding on basically the same platform. It's just been heavily revised. And the engine, which was a highlight of the old one, carries over. So, you know, Ford looked at everything that needed to be improved on that, especially dynamically from behind the wheel. And they just did it. And they made it way better. And I'm impressed. This has been a very, very comfy and convenient car to live with every day. All right, so interior of the new Ranger, pros and cons. Pro is materials-wise and features-wise. This is the Lariat trim, I think is perfectly fine. You got these comfy leather seats, you got the leather wrapped steering wheel, you got a little bit of stitching on the dash. Yeah, this is a nice place. You got memory, heated seats, and then you got your big 12-inch digital.
Cool,
not cool. That is
annoying.
A little bit of a bummer considering you do get cooled.
Well, especially if you're on this truck and you're working hard and you're like carrying stuff in the bed, wouldn't you want to like
some of the Lariat trims, the Super Duty we had, I believe, was a Lariat trim. It came with cooled seats.
I just feel like if you can heat, cool it.
It
can't be that big of a...
Yeah, you can cool it. 12-inch digital gauge clusters, typical Ford, looks great. 12-inch vertical screen. I'm not as big of a fan of, just because it stacks your camera views and it just looks a little awkward.
Well, I just think it's weird you wouldn't put your phone vertical. I mean, like you wouldn't put your iPod,
Yeah, you
your
wouldn't
iPad.
put your phone vertical,
and
your
then, like
iPad.
if you're watching a show.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't have your iPad vertical or your TV vertical.
No,
Why do you want
I
that screen
prefer
vertical?
Toyota's infotainment system here, and the GM twins. I don't mind. This is Sync, and I'm a fan of Sync. I like Sync, but I just don't love this vertical orientation. It doesn't look quite as slick as it does in the Mustang Mach-E, where that vertical screen looks a little bit more special. This one is not quite as special, and your climate control buttons are right next to your actual climate control buttons, which seems kind of silly, right?
redundant.
Like you have these redundant controls. Why not just have the hard buttons? Then everybody's happy, because we prefer the dials anyway. But it's very functional and it works perfectly fine, so no complaints. Everything else ergonomically is laid out really well. I do think the shifter is kind of dorky, this little like hand shifter thing. You can't really see it. Yeah, don't.
It's like metal on the ground. I'm gonna stab myself. I have to go get a tetanus shot.
That seems a bit much.
It could happen.
I don't know about that. You have shoes on, actually.
Well,
Is it going to
it
stab
could
you
go
through your
through.
shoe?
Yes.
Wow, those are some cheap shoes.
Look at that. It's a big piece of metal.
Yeah. Oh, that was strange.
See, what is that thing?
All right, running out of battery.
Okay, go.
So I'm not the biggest fan of this shifter, because it just seems like weird for weird's sake. Either make a push button or make it a normal gear selector. That one's kind of strange.
Don't be odd just to be odd.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's odd for the sake of being odd. Now you do get 2 glove boxes. You get your normal one right here, which is there, and you get this little hidden one up here for your other stuff up there. So that's kind of nice. All in all, it's a very highly functional place to be. But what sets the Ranger's interior apart from the GM twins and the Tacoma especially, I do like the Tacoma a lot, but there's something that sets this thing apart from the Tacoma, and that's how well someone like me fits in the back seat. Well, sort of. I use that term loosely, but I'll show you.
Comical. That's pretty tight fit.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So you go check out my first look of the Tacoma when I was at Destination Outdoor. I couldn't even get in hardly the back seat sitting behind myself. And in the Ranger, I can. I am actually in the truck. I could buckle up. I could ride like this. It's not ideal. I'm not going to sit here and pretend.
You could ride like that for not very long.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that almost 6'6" is going to be comfortable sitting behind someone who is 6'6", but the fact that it's even a physical possibility puts it one up on the Tacoma. Now, I defended the Tacoma by saying, how often do you carry 2 6'6" people sitting, front to back in a Tacoma? Not very often. But the fact that you can do that in the Ranger,
well, because to do that, you would have to have like 3 6'6" people.
Well, right.
Because otherwise, you would sit on the other side. So, like, really, the chances of that are
because you would
even
just sit over
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
So, or in the passenger seat, you put the shorter person in the back. So, yeah, the fact that this is even possible in the Ranger makes this a much more, for our tall family, the Ranger becomes a much more possible family vehicle than something like the Toyota Tacoma. So I just want to point that out. I think that's impressive on the Ranger's part that you have this much physical space inside of it. Say that again for the camera. A truck is not a truck.
I said a truck is not a truck if it is not full size.
There's a lot of Ranger Tacoma Colorado owners out there who are going to comment in the comments.
I just like big full size trucks. Now I do appreciate this was very easy to drive downtown Atlanta. You parked it in a parking deck. Like
that
things
is the
you
advantage.
couldn't do with a full size truck. So I get it.
We were in Atlanta
all weekend. But if I
lived
in the country and just needed a truck,
well, yeah,
it needs to be full size.
We need that Super Duty.
Yeah. But I mean, I do see the whatever. I get it. So my favorite thing about this truck though are these seats. They are so comfortable. Like they are squishy. Like I am in luxury.
Yeah.
I cannot stand it when I get in a car and it's like hard. The seats are hard. I don't want to hard. Like I need to be comfortable if I'm going to drive this thing. I love the seats. The steering wheel. Like I said, I haven't driven this car yet, but, or at all, but it looks nice. I'm with you. I don't love the vertical
it's
screen.
not my favorite.
Like, I just think it looks weird. Like, you wouldn't hold your iPad vertical. You don't want a TV vertical. Why do I want this vertical? Like, it's a screen like any other screen in my life.
It's for the TikTok generation.
Yeah. Oh, I guess they watch vertical.
Yeah.
The seats look lovely. It's got a little charge pad here. It's got the cup holders. It doesn't, the door, I want real cup holders in my doors. I don't like these little slanty
The door functionality is not as good as some others.
Yeah. I think the little air vents look pretty cool.
Yeah,
they're like a weird shape.
There's some nice detailing.
Cool. There's no sunroof. Can you get that?
You know what? I think you can.
I don't like the steering wheel. I don't love. It's okay. It's got this thing that I don't know. I want like this not here at all. I don't understand what's the purpose of it.
You just like everything to be full sized.
Yes, I just don't like this. And like you, I think it's really ridiculous that there are physical AC buttons here, but then they're like on the screen too. When it's turned on, they're literally right next to each other. Like that is dumb.
The vertical orientation is almost like they're just trying to think of ways to fill the space.
Yeah, and it kind of looks silly. So, but I mean, it's nice. This thing does look weird, the gear shift.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
The materials are pretty good though. Like
I think it looks impressive.
yeah.
Like it looks very nice. It's not.
It's so much nicer than the last
I mean, and
gen.
the seats are just.
You guys go watch that last gen video because the previous gen is this is so much better.
Yeah, and the seats just are my favorite. They could not be more comfortable.
Now let's see if a normal sized person could
not
fit
like
behind
you.
themselves.
Yeah. But this is how I would drive.
Yeah, you drive like me,
I do drive like you, which is kind of
but
weird.
can you fit?
Well, because I have long legs and you have long torso.
Yeah.
So, why's your stuff in the way? All right.
All right, let's see.
Okay. Now, I do feel like it is a pretty high up truck.
Well, this
Which
is
I like.
off-road. Yeah, it's the off-road
I
one.
like that. Like you kind of have to use the step.
Well,
All right.
you do.
I felt like I needed to do that. Okay. Oh, I just hit my face.
Yeah. Well, you also hit yourself against the bed, so.
I mean, these are just things. See, I fit comfortably. This is fine.
Yeah.
This is fine. And like
And you're
you
how tall?
could go. I'm 5'9".
Yeah.
You could go a little further up and like.
Oh,
just
sure,
still
I
drive.
could. Yeah, I mean, I could
Yeah.
scoot that seat up by
Like,
about
if we
an
were
inch or
because
two.
if we were driving with the girls, I would probably sit back here because I'm the shortest one.
Right.
And you would push this up a little bit for me, and I would be perfectly fine. So now Ellen Hallie, I guess, sitting over here,
Yeah.
might be a bit of a. But if you weren't going far, this really is fine. And I think it's nice. All the materials kind of come back here, and even the back is squishy. Did you notice that?
Yeah, they
Like,
do a good
everything
job.
is
You can see it
squishy.
here too
Yeah,
on the door.
It's soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is soft. There's not a
No
bunch
vents
of,
or heated seats or anything though.
none.
Nope.
Okay, well then I won't be sitting back here, but it does have the little middle guy that you pull down. What
Yeah,
is that
for
called?
Cup holders, an
No.
armrest, center
It's
armrest.
an armrest.
Yeah.
But is it called something when it folds away?
I mean,
It's
a
got little cup
folded
holders.
armrest.
There's a little couple chargers down here.
Yeah.
It's got a little, what is this, a little compartment?
I don't know. It's where the
Kinda
vent
weird.
should have been.
Oh, maybe, yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Huh, that's strange.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
So, should you buy the 2024 Ford Ranger? Well, I will say, as someone who is very critical of the previous gen Ranger, this is a massively improved midsize pickup truck. I actually really enjoyed this thing. It grew on me over the course of the week. Now, let's talk a little bit about pricing, because I've heard so many people complaining about pricing of midsize pickup trucks. As full-size pickup trucks have gotten ludicrously expensive, midsize pickup trucks have recently kind of filled the void. And there's been a lot of criticism of the Toyota Tacoma's raised prices, the GM Twins going up in price, and now this Ford Ranger. So this Ford Ranger, as you see it here, Lariat trim, four-wheel drive, rear locking diff, all of the base powertrain. So that's the base powertrain. This one is about $52,000. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a truck like this. However, compared to sort of mid-level trims of the Toyota Tacoma and the GM Twins, I think the Ranger compares pretty favorably. Now, if you consider that to get a TRD off-road, right, which would be a little bit more capable than this off-road Toyota Tacoma, you're going to be running in the low to mid 50s. And Ford still has space between this at 51 and the newly introduced Ranger Raptor. So the Ford Ranger Raptor starts at like 57, 58. That is actually a pretty incredible value for what that truck is. So that still gives Ford a couple $1,000s in between to have like an FX4 package or a Tremor package or something like that. So I think, yes, are midsize trucks expensive? Sure, 100%. But are you getting a little bit more value, maybe, and I use that word loosely, but you're getting a little bit more value out of the Ford Ranger than you might be getting out of the GM Twins or the Toyota Tacoma. Now, on that note, we have not had the new GM Twins. We haven't had the Colorado or the Canyon. And the ZR2 version of the Colorado and the AT4 version of the Canyon are around this ballpark price range. So really it's going to depend on what options you spec and stuff like this. For example, this one has the base powertrain, so you're getting that for 51 or 52, but if you added a twin turbo V6, that would jack that price up into the mid 50s. And then you're getting awfully close to Tacoma TRD off-road, which because of its capabilities and the disconnecting sway bar, I'd probably lean a little bit more towards that. So I think you really got to think about what your priorities are, what options you need, and what you're willing to spend. But I'm very impressed with this thing. I loved living with it for a week, and if I'm going to slap a Most Improved award on a midsize pickup truck, it's going to be this. Yes, the Tacoma's a lot more livable than the previous one, but the previous one was literally indestructible in a monster off-road, and it sort of seems to be, continuing that trend of monstering off-road, whereas this thing was kind of a dog in the previous generation. I did not like it at all, and I really like this one. So I hope you found that helpful. I hope you found that useful. Oh wait, should I let you take it away? Because you always sum up, but you didn't.
Definitely.
Okay, I guess we'll let you take it away, even though you technically didn't
Doesn't
drive
matter.
it this week.
Doesn't matter.
But all right, fine, here you are.
So I'm going to take it over, even though I didn't drive this, because I'm just more fun.
It's a weird outro.
I'm more fun to listen to. And it's going to be kind of quick because it's hot, and I forgot that it was hot, and I forgot to put a sweatshirt on.
Spring has
I
turned
mean,
to
I put a
summer.
sweatshirt on. We were inside, and it was cold, and now
Yes.
we're outside, and it's hot, and I didn't.
Okay, outro.
Anyway, outro. I did not drive this car, so that's a
Yeah.
void. I don't know. Refer to whatever he has to say later. The outterior.
Outerior. This is
The
the worst outro
The
we've done.
outside, the outro, the exterior, whatever. I like it. It's smaller than I like for most trucks. Like, I like a full-size truck. But
Right.
as mid-size trucks go, like, it looks really cool. Like you said, it looks like the F-150.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it looks good. It looks tough. It doesn't look like a wimpy truck. So, like, if you're going for a smaller truck, but you still want it to look like a truck like I do, this would be a good one. I like it. It's very comfortable. As a passenger, it's very comfortable. Our kid fell asleep.
Wait, are you rating this or what?
Oh, so for the outside, I'm gonna go in the mid-range
Right.
truck family
what it
or
is.
whatever. For what it is, I'd go like a 9 out of 10. I
Okay.
think it looks great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks great. The interior is super comfortable, very, very pleasant to ride in. All the stuff is useful. I don't love the vertical screen. The gear shift's a little weird. The steering wheel's not my favorite. I'd go like a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I mean, it's not my favorite, but the seats. Ooh, those seats, maybe an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Just because of the seats. It is super comfortable to ride in. And the back seat, I think, is super comfortable. Our kid fell asleep in it for like
She did.
12 different times and like 12 different
Now you can't do driving impressions, but you can do
positions, yeah.
value. So
value.
51,
So you said
52.
51. I mean, I don't think that's bad, honestly.
Okay.
I mean, it's a good sized truck. It has a lot of capabilities. It looks great. The seats are comfortable. It's got all the like quality interior stuff. So I don't think it's bad. I do think at 51, I should have air vents in the back. I should have some heated and cooled seats, not just heated seats.
Yeah, cooled is the
I mean,
one.
I think there are little things like that if I'm going to pay 51, like, so many cars have heated and cooled seats now. Like, why aren't we doing it in all of them, really?
in
right?
all of them.
Well, it's
Just
gotta
give
be
it.
like the same technology,
give it to
isn't
the
it? Like, I think
people.
it's the same.
Yeah.
If you heat my seat, you may as well go ahead and put a little cooling option in
Well, I
there.
don't
like-
think it's exactly the same.
but I mean, I feel like it's pretty close.
Yeah.
So anyway, but the seats are great. That's like my favorite thing. And so I would give the interior. Oh, I already did that.
Yeah.
Overall, value. I was like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
I got distracted. Overall value, I'm gonna go like an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I think it's
Not
pretty
bad.
good. I mean, it does what it needs to do. It's got the space that you want in a truck. It
Yeah.
looks
You
great.
got four-wheel
It
drive,
can
rear
carry
locker.
4 people.
Yeah.
It can carry 4 people comfortably. It's got the nice seats, good materials. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I'll go 8 out of 10. And I think you should try it out. If you're in the market for a mid-size truck, I would definitely. That
Or get
looks
the
like a
Raptor.
truck. Like, I love that. I think you should check it out. So we'll go back to you, I guess. Right?
What? Why we go back to me?
Because you said we went to you, and now we got to go back to me.
No. I said we're going to you for the outro.
Oh, okay. We're staying here. We're with me all the time. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you.
Very, very nice outro. Unexpected
I do what I
outro.
can. I do
You
what I
didn't
can.
even know. You're going to kick it back to me for no reason. Who knows what's happening right now?
Whatever.
Also, there's
This
a
there's
child
like a
being
child-
abused
No, she's
over
not.
there.
She's
No,
just-
not actually. She's
Look
just
at
a
her running.
brat.
She's just being a brat.
Yeah.
Um,
She's literally.
so don't film the kid running.
Oh, well, you can't see her from here. We'll blur her out. This little bratty child ruining our video at the park.
So
Altoids.
I'm about to
Use those.
be quiet. Go. Oh my God, you're on film. Don't ever do that again. Go. I
Okay.
just got you wiping your nose. You'll
Oh,
edit
well,
that out.
well, there's a lot of bugs out here today.